He is football's greatest villain and its most beloved savior. This is the story of the man defined by a single moment in time, 992 minutes and 48 seconds. To truly understand the heart of the warrior behind the legend, make sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on. Our story begins not on a perfectly manicured pitch, but in Camas, a small, dusty, and sun-scorched town, baking on the outskirts of Seville, the very soul of Andalusia, Spain. You can almost feel the heat rising from the asphalt, hear the distant strum of a guitar. It was here on the 30th of March, 1986, that a blonde-haired boy with bright, piercing eyes that seemed to see right through you was born into the Ramos family. He was named Sergio. Now, Andalusia is a land of pure passion. It's the home of raw, emotional flamenco dances and the high-stakes drama of the bullfight. And that spirit, that fire it, seemed to flow directly through Sergio's blood from the moment he could walk. His father, José María Ramos, a passionate football man who would become his son's first agent, saw something different in the boy. He saw an unusual, untamable fire. Young Sergio didn't just love kicking a ball around on the dirt-packed streets of Camas. He was utterly captivated by the bullfighters, the toreros. He was fascinated by their grace, their artistry, but most of all, their raw courage. For a time, a young Sergio stood at a genuine crossroads in his life, a choice that could have changed. Football history, become a torero in the ring, or a futbolista on the pitch. Fortunately for the world of football, his older brother René, who would later become his lifelong agent and confidant, convinced Sergio that his true destiny lay on the grass, not the sand of the bull ring, but the spirit of the bullfighter. That never left him. That grit, that absolute fearlessness, that readiness to stare danger in the face and not flinch, and the resilience to get back up stronger after every single fall. That became the very essence of who Sergio Ramos was. His talent was impossible to ignore. It burned bright and early. After starring for the local team FC Camas, his name started being whispered by scouts from the biggest club in the region, Sevilla FC. At the tender age of 14, Sergio officially walked through the doors of Sevilla's renowned youth academy, a hallowed ground that had already produced Spanish legends like Jesus Navas and the late great José Antonio Reyes. Here in the heart of his homeland, the young Sergio was molded. He was a diamond in the rough, and the coaches started to polish him. Initially, he played as a forward, using his aggression to score goals, but they saw more. His incredible physique, his explosive speed, and a sixth sense for reading the game made them realize his true calling was at the back. So they moved him into defense. He was a natural. He could dominate at right back, bombing up and down the flank, or he could command the game from center back. His versatility, that fiery fighting spirit, and just a little touch of that untamed wildness made him stand out from everyone else. He shot through the youth ranks with lightning speed, and soon the first team came calling. In 2004, at just 17 years old, Sergio Ramos made his La Liga debut for his beloved Sevilla. The entire Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium, a cauldron of noise and passion, roared as one of their own, a not-so homegrown product, played with the composure of a veteran and the heart of a lion. In that 2004-2005 season, he became an unmovable pillar of the team, defending like a true warrior and prophetically scoring crucial, towering headers from set pieces. The name Sergio Ramos wasn't just known in Andalusia anymore. It was echoing across all of Spain. He wasn't just another defender. He was a force of nature, a source of raw energy, a born leader in the body of a teenager. But the beautiful land of Andalusia was starting to feel too small for a boy with such colossal ambitions. Far away, in the capital city of Madrid, a powerful man named Florentino Perez, was assembling a new generation of Galacticos for Real Madrid. And in the fiery young man from Sevilla, he saw more than just a talented defender. He saw the future. He saw the very soul of the Royal Club for the next decade and a half. In the sun-drenched summer of 2005, Real Madrid did something that Florentino Perez almost never did. They shattered their own transfer policy. They spent a staggering $27 million, a colossal, almost unbelievable sum, for a 19-year-old defender at the time to bring Sergio Ramos to the Santiago Bernabéu. He was the very first Spanish player Perez had signed in his first term as president. Upon arriving in the whirlwind of Madrid, Ramos was handed the number 4 shirt. This wasn't just any number. It was the legendary jersey left behind by Fernando Hierro, an icon of defending leadership and the very spirit of Madridismo. It was both a breathtaking honor and an immense crushing burden. Imagine it, a teenager walking into a dressing room that was a constellation of footballing gods. Zidane, Ronaldo el Fenomeno, Beckham, Raúl, Roberto Carlos. The pressure was simply unimaginable. Those early days in the capital were not a fairy tale. They were brutal. The young man from Andalusia, with his raw edges and passionate heart, struggled to adapt. He was a world away from home, trying to find his footing in the most demanding environment in football, under the relentless gaze of tens of thousands of fans and a media that smelled blood with every mistake. His fiery, sometimes reckless style of play cost him cards. A lot of them. Whispers started to grow into shouts. People began to question that $27 million price tag. Had Perez made a massive, reckless gamble? Imagine being 19 with that price tag in that dressing room. What do you think was going through his head? How would you have handled that pressure? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. But Sergio Ramos was not and has never been a man who was easily defeated. He carried the heart of a bullfighter, remember? He didn't shrink. He attacked the challenge. He threw himself into training like his life depended on it, a moth drawn to the flame of greatness. He watched the veterans, he learned, he listened. And in every single match he fought. He accepted playing out of position at right back despite his preference for the center, just to serve the team. And slowly but surely, the Bernabéu began to see what Perez had seen. They saw his terrifying speed, his tireless engine running from his own box to the opponent's, and his decisive game-saving tackles. He gradually won over even the most demanding of fans. And more importantly, he started scoring goals. A lot of them. Ramos's soaring headers from corners and free kicks became a trademark, a unique and deadly weapon for Real Madrid. He wasn't just a defender who stopped goals. He was a match winner who scored them. The number 4 shirt, once a heavy burden, slowly began to feel like a second skin. It was no longer Hierro's shirt. It was his. A symbol of a complete defender and a future leader. Those first years at Real Madrid were a chaotic, turbulent time for the club. Coaches came and went through a revolving door, and trophies were scarce. But amidst all that chaos, one thing was constant: Sergio Ramos. He was a bright spot of relentless effort and burning desire. Alongside club legends Iker Casillas and Raúl González, he became one of the few Spanish icons in a squad full of international superstars, acting as the vital bridge between the boardroom, the coach, and the players. He was becoming the club's conscience. As time marched on, the legends of the old guard began to depart. First Raúl and Guti, and then in a painful exit, his great friend Iker Casillas. The captain's armband of Real Madrid, one of the most sacred honors in all of sport, naturally found its way to the arm of the man who deserved it most, Sergio Ramos. This wasn't just a piece of cloth. It was a recognition of his journey and a responsibility that would reshape the man himself. The Ramos of this era was a different beast. He was far more mature, more calculated. The impulsive, hot-headed boy from Andalusia was gone. In his place stood a man, a father, and the undisputed leader of the biggest club in the world. The fire was still there. It would always be there, but now it was a controlled inferno, channeled by a cool head and years of hard-won experience. He knew exactly when to scream at a teammate to wake them up, when to put a supportive arm around a shoulder, and crucially when to stand in front of the cameras and take all the heat to protect his team. Let's be clear, the Real Madrid dressing room is never a quiet place. It's a gathering of the biggest talents and the biggest egos on the planet. And with the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo and the famously combustible coach Jose Mourinho, the conflicts and the pressure escalated to fever pitch. It was a stormy, tense period. And during that time, it was Ramos who was the anchor, the man who kept the Real Madrid ship from capsizing. He was the one who dared to confront Mourinho himself to protect the interests of the players, especially his close friend Casillas. And he was also the one who stood shoulder to shoulder with Ronaldo, creating the solid, unified backbone the team needed to compete. With the captain's armband on, Ramos wasn't just a spiritual leader. He was the general on the pitch. He commanded the defensive line with an iron will. He organized the entire team, and he was always present in the hottest, most decisive moments of a match. And he kept on scoring. My word, did he keep scoring. His goals weren't just numerous, they were life or death important. He was becoming the king of the clutch moment, the master of the decisive blow. But there is one moment, one single solitary moment above all others that would not just define his career, but would carve an eternal golden statue of Sergio Ramos in the temple of football legends. The date is May 24th, 2014. The place, the Estádio da Luz in Lisbon, Portugal. It's the Champions League final. Real Madrid versus their fierce city rivals, Atletico Madrid. The dream of La Decima, the 10th European Cup, an obsession that had haunted Real Madrid for 12 long, agonizing years, was turning to ash before their very eyes. Atletico, drilled into a defensive machine by Diego Simeone, had taken the lead early on after a rare mistake from the great Iker Casillas. And for the rest of the match, they had defended with their lives. Time ticked away, dripping with despair for the hundreds of thousands of Madridistas watching around the world. The 90 official minutes were over. The referee's board went up 5 minutes of stoppage time. 5 minutes to save a dream. The giant stadium clock ticked past 92 minutes. On the Atletico bench, players were already starting to celebrate. In the stands, the faces of Real Madrid fans were stained with tears. The dream was dead. It was over. But there was one man on that pitch who refused to believe it. One man who still had faith. Sergio Ramos. Minute 92, second 48. Real Madrid win one last desperate corner kick. This is it. The last chance. Luka Modric walks over to take it. He takes a breath, looks up, and whips a perfect arching ball into the penalty box, into a forest of bodies, a sea of red and white shirts. And out of that chaos, one figure in pure white leaps. No, he doesn't leap. He flies. It wasn't just a jump. It was an act of pure faith, a manifestation of sheer will. Sergio Ramos's head meets the ball. It's a perfect connection. A glancing, powerful flick that sends the ball arrowing into the one place Thibaut Courtois couldn't reach it, the far bottom corner of the net. Goal. The world explodes. A tidal wave of white noise. Ramos, his face a mask of primal screaming relief, sprints towards the corner flag. He has done it. He has pulled Real Madrid back from the abyss. He has single-handedly resurrected the dream of La Decima. That goal didn't just tie the game at 1-1 and send it into extra time, where a revitalized Real Madrid would go on to win 4-1. No, it did more. It changed the history of the club forever. It was the foundation stone upon which a glorious golden dynasty would be built. That goal didn't just win a trophy, it ignited a dynasty. And the story of that incredible reign, filled with more legendary moments and controversies, is coming right up. To make sure you don't miss how Ramos led Real Madrid to conquer Europe again and again, hit that subscribe button. We have so many more stories of legends like this one coming your way. The number 9248 became legendary. It's not just a timestamp. It's a sacred number for Madridistas. It was the ultimate embodiment of the spirit of Sergio Ramos and the spirit of Real Madrid: never ever give up. Not until the final whistle blows. That one moment in time transformed Ramos from a great captain into a living, breathing saint in the hearts of every Real Madrid fan on the planet. That goal in Lisbon wasn't an ending. It was a spectacular beginning. It ushered in one of the most dominant and golden eras in the entire storied history of Real Madrid. Under the calm guidance of his former teammate Zinedine Zidane and the fierce on-field leadership of Captain Sergio Ramos, the Royal Club achieved the unthinkable. They won the Champions League 3 times in a row. 2016, 2017, 2018. An unprecedented feat in the modern era. And during that incredible reign, Ramos was the heart, the soul, and the steel wall of the team. He and Rafael Varane formed one of the most formidable center-back pairings in the world. He didn't just defend brilliantly, he continued his habit of scoring impossibly important goals. In the 2016 Champions League final against Atletico, again, it was he who scored the opening goal. In the 2016 UEFA Super Cup, with his team trailing in the dying seconds, he did it again, a stoppage-time header to force extra time. It was his signature move. Ramos became the personification of victory. He was a winner through and through. Now, was he controversial? Absolutely. His cynical fouls and his staggering red card record, he is the most red-carded player in the history of both La Liga and the Champions League, made him a villain to every opponent. But no one, not even his harshest critic, could deny his burning desire to win and his monumental influence on his team. His challenge on Mohamed Salah in the 2018 final remains a source of huge debate, but for better or for worse, it showed that Ramos was willing to do absolutely anything, pushing every boundary of the game to bring victory home to Madrid. He is a warrior, and on the battlefield of the pitch, there is no room for mercy. Lifting 3 consecutive big-eared trophies as Captain Sergio Ramos cemented his place forever, standing shoulder to shoulder with the absolute greatest legends to ever grace the Santiago Bernabéu. And parallel to his glittering club career, Ramos was an absolute monument for the Spanish national team, La Roja. He made his debut for his country as a mere 18-year-old and quickly became a cornerstone of Spain's golden generation. He was an indispensable, ever-present part of that historic team that conquered the world with its revolutionary tiki-taka style, winning Euro 2008, the 2010 World Cup, and then Euro 2012 in a stunning display of dominance. Initially playing as a world-class right-back, he later shifted into the heart of defense, forming legendary partnerships, first with his great rival and friend, Barcelona's Carles Puyol, and later with Gerard Piqué. It's a testament to his character that he could put aside the fiercest club rivalry on earth and, alongside the Barcelona players, form an unbreakable defensive wall that was the foundation for all of that success. He would go on to become the most capped player in the entire history of the Spanish national team, and also one of the highest scoring defenders ever at the international level. After Casillas' time came to an end, the captaincy of his country also deservedly fell to him. Sergio Ramos is a symbol of the unity, the strength, and the triumph of an entire golden generation of Spanish football. That Spanish golden generation was something else, wasn't it? If you think a friend needs to be reminded of the heart of that legendary squad, feel free to share this story with them. And while you're at it, let me know which legend from that era we should cover next. But every beautiful story, even the greatest love stories, can have an imperfect, painful ending. After 16 glorious years, the love affair between Sergio Ramos and Real Madrid ended in tears. In the summer of 2021, a bitter disagreement over the terms of a new contract extension meant that, unbelievably, the two parties could not find common ground. Ramos's farewell press conference was one of the most emotional moments you will ever see in football. This strong captain, this warrior who never backed down from anyone, stood at the podium and could not hold back his tears. He wept openly as he spoke of his profound love for the white shirt of the unforgettable memories forged in the Bernabéu. It was a bitter, heartbreaking farewell, an ending that no Madridista ever wanted to see. Leaving Madrid, Ramos sought a new challenge, joining another Galacticos project at Paris Saint-Germain, teaming up with former rivals Lionel Messi and Neymar. It seemed like a dream on paper, but reality was cruel. Persistent nagging injuries robbed him of his power, preventing him from contributing much to the French team. His 2 years in Paris were a quiet, frustrating low point in his glorious career. A harsh reminder that even the greatest warriors cannot ultimately defeat the relentless march of time. In the summer of 2023, after his contract with PSG expired, the football world watched and waited. Everyone assumed Ramos would follow the trend, heading to Saudi Arabia to retire with one last monumental paycheck. But the heart of the bullfighter, the soul of the boy from Andalusia, called him home. After 18 long years away from the club where it all began, Sergio Ramos made a decision that shocked everyone. He decided to return to Sevilla. He flatly rejected multi-million-dollar offers to once again wear the white and red shirt of his boyhood club for a modest, symbolic salary. He wasn't returning for money. He was returning for love, for his family, and to fulfill a promise he had made to his late grandfather and to his father. On the day of his second presentation at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, tens of thousands of Sevilla fans packed the stadium to welcome him back, not as a former player, but as a returning hero. And Ramos, standing on the pitch where his dream was born, once again, could not hold back his tears. But these were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of pure happiness, of homecoming, of fulfillment. The circle was now complete. The young man who had left home to conquer the entire world had now returned as a living legend to dedicate the final chapters of his career to the place that gave him everything. The life and career of Sergio Ramos is nothing short of an epic. It's the story of a boy from Andalusia with the unyielding heart of a bullfighter who fought, who fell, who got back up, and who conquered every single peak imaginable. He is without a doubt a controversial player. He's a man you either love with all your heart or hate with a passion. But you can never ever ignore him. His legacy isn't just in the mountain of trophies, the incredible records, or even the last-minute goals. His true legacy is that warrior spirit. It's the will to never, ever surrender. It's the powerful, enduring lesson that as long as you have faith, as long as you believe you can pull an entire dream back from the dead, even when the clock reads 92:48. And that's where this incredible football story concludes. What a journey, right? I'm so eager to hear your thoughts. What moment stood out to you the most? Did this player's struggle and his unbreakable will resonate with you? Please share all your opinions, your favorite moments, and any questions you have in the comments below. I truly love reading them and building this amazing football community with all of you.